Hello everybody, I'm back with another video. This one's a special video. I just finished phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I started from Iron Man, then Incredible Hulk. After Incredible Hulk was Thor, then First Avenger, Captain America the First Avenger, and then the first Avengers movie. So this is just a little ranking. If you guys follow me on Snapchat, you guys have seen my reviews of the first 4 movies of phase 1 of MCU, but you haven't seen my review for Avengers. You guys know I really enjoyed it, and now I'm going to tell you guys my full thoughts on Avengers when I rank it right here, right now. Right now, I'm going to rank them and just talk while I rank them right now. I already know what they are. It's not going to take too long. So just to give you guys some personal backstory, I never grew up as a comic book fan. I was never big into comics. The only superheroes I was really into when I was a kid, because my dad was into them, was Superman and Batman. Those are the only 2 comic book characters that I have some familiarity with them. I'm not a big Marvel guy. I wasn't, or at least I wasn't a big Marvel guy, and I don't read as many comics as most people. I am a noob as far as comic book characters go. I know almost next to nothing. I mean, I have a general idea because the movies and everything, and doing some research. I do some research on these characters, but I am not no means the go-to guy when it comes to comic book films. So I'm very much so a noob to comic book. I like films. I like movies. I'm a big movie guy. You guys know how much I really like the DC Extended Universe. There are a lot of issues I have with the DC Extended Universe. It's very clunky. I love Man of Steel, as you guys know. I really love Wonder Woman. They go neck and neck as to which is the best of the DCEU. I think Batman versus Superman is an extremely risky movie, very much so like The Last Jedi from Star Wars. I think people didn't like the portrayals of some characters, i.e. Superman, just like in The Last Jedi with Luke. People weren't very happy with his portrayal, and I can understand that, but I think it took risks. It's a different take on the character. If you look at Superman in the DCEU and look at him as a different take on the character of Superman, it's actually a lot of fun, and I have a lot of fun with this character and with the DCEU. I hate Justice League. You guys know that I really don't like Justice League. It completely ruined the arcs set up in Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. I think it's a mess of a film, and I'm excited for the Snyder Cut that's coming out sometime next year. I have not seen Aquaman, but I did pick up Aquaman on 4K. I wish I had the slipcover, but I don't have the slipcover for this, which is kind of disappointing because I really wanted the slipcover, but that's okay. Not everything can have slipcovers. Let me fix this real quick. Here we go. Okay, and I also picked up Zombieland on Blu-ray, and there's one more Blu-ray I picked up. That'll be a surprise. It's a Marvel movie. I think you guys probably have an idea of what it is, but yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. So Marvel, in my opinion, I always thought Marvel was more of a roller coaster ride movies, like feel good like action movies and stuff like that. Not really cinema. There's a lot of controversy surrounding Marvel, which with Martin Scorsese and how he says it's not really cinema. And in some ways, I really can agree, but I haven't seen them, so I haven't seen all of them, so I couldn't really comment. In my opinion, they seemed very overrated, and everybody loved them just because big action scenes. After having watched phase 1, I will say that it did exceed my expectations ever so slightly. I still think they're a tad overrated. But not that overrated. I understand why people like them so much. I mean, they're fun. They're very fun characters. They are very much so fun characters and mean a lot to people who love comics, who love superheroes, and all that good stuff. Okay. I'm still ranking them. Really, there is one movie of the 5 the 5 Marvel movies of Phase One that there's just one that I really don't like, and I'll get into that when I rank them. Okay, got it. Alrighty. So at number five, I'm going to start ranking them now. At number five, I have Iron Man 2. I don't like this movie at all. I think it sucks. Like, I think it really sucks because I really like the first one. The first one, oh gosh, I said five. There's actually six. I don't know what I'm doing. There's six Marvel movies. I forgot to include the. I forgot to include Iron Man, the first one. But anyway, since I love the first Iron Man so much, I hate I almost borderline hate Iron Man 2. The reason why, if you've seen my review on Snapchat, you guys know that I don't like Iron Man 2 because it completely wastes the villains. I mean, you see Mickey Rourke's character, Whiplash, in like two very short action scenes with his whip things, lightning whips, and then he gets into the suit at the end, and it's this very short fight, and he just sits in front of computers controlling all these robots. It doesn't add. It doesn't. There's no backstory except for there's really no backstory except for the fact that his father worked with Howard Stark, Tony's father, and such. There's nothing. There's almost nothing with him. Really, I like I really like what's his name? The other, what the hell is his name? Crap, I can't remember his name. The guy that's competing with Tony Stark. Like, really, he's the only. He's actually better than freaking Whiplash, and he's nothing. I mean, even he's ridiculous in some aspects. Like, the villains are just awful in this movie, and I can't and Tony Stark is such a jerk in this movie and an idiot. He's so stupid. I mean, you see the first Iron Man and you see how much he's been through, and he's an asshole in the first 15 to 20 minutes. But then you see him get kidnapped by the people in Afghanistan. I think that's where he's got kidnapped. Yeah, Afghanistan, and you see him change. You know what he went through, and having his heart removed and such. You see him go through. He has a character arc. He starts out very much so as a dick, and then he has an arc to the end of the film where he's now doing what he's doing for other people, for the good of mankind, because he doesn't have to be that superhero, but he wants to be, and he wants to do some good. And I like that. I really like that about the first Iron Man. And the ending of the movie is crazy. Like, he gives up. He's like, "I am Iron Man." It's like, wow. And it's a cool ending. It's a really cool ending. But Iron Man 2, he's just an idiot. I mean, you see him in the middle of the movie, just being drunk and being a jerk. And he's fighting with Don Cheadle, who replaces the other guy from the first Iron Man, which was kind of distracting. I mean, Don Cheadle, I'll admit, he does a good job. He does a very good job. You didn't really feel that chemistry from the first Iron Man movie with the other actor who was very good. And I'm forgetting actors already, but Iron Man 2 is just a mess of a film. I can't believe Jon Favreau approved of the script. I mean, it's just so underwritten, the villains, and I don't know. They just completely drove it into the ground, I think, at the middle portion. However, there are good moments. Robert Downey Jr. is still really great as this character, Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. And there are genuinely good, heartfelt moments, like the moment with the scene with his father, where he's telling him through the screen, basically motivating him to turn his ways and be that hero. And I thought that was really well done. We needed more. We needed more of that. There's so many plot lines just thrown into this movie. It's a mess. It's a messy film. It's a 5.7 out of 10 for me. I did not like it all. Now, the rest of these movies I actually really thoroughly enjoy. The next one up is Hulk, The Incredible Hulk. I really, really enjoyed this movie, and I think it's very underrated. I think The Incredible Hulk is very good, and if I'm being honest, I think I like Ed Norton more than I do Mark Ruffalo. He just gives a physicality I think Edward Norton gives to Bruce Banner and Hulk that I don't think Mark Ruffalo really does. He's great. Mark Ruffalo is good as the professor, science guy, the scientist aspect of Bruce Banner, but other than that, he's fine. I actually like Mark Ruffalo as an actor. He's really good in Zodiac. He's really good in other movies that I've seen him in. He's a good actor, but as Hulk, a little iffy. He's fine. He's fine. But yeah, the Incredible Hulk is really fun. That chase scene in Brazil, that opening chase scene, or not the opening chase scene, but like in like the first 20 minutes of the movie, the chase, and then he becomes Hulk. He hulks out. Great, really cool stuff. I really think this is a really cool movie and very underrated. I gave this one, I believe, an 8.2 out of 10. I believe so. That's what I'll stick it with, an 8.2 out of 10. Next up is Thor. No, not Thor. Iron Man, the first Iron Man. I think this one's a little overrated because the ending is kind of ridiculous. But I really do like Jeff Bridges as the villain, and as I said before, the Tony's character arc throughout the first one is really cool, and is really good. Excuse me, and I mean Robert Downey Jr. is great as his character, and the Iron Man, the first Iron Man, is very inspiring because Robert Downey Jr. He had a lot of problems in life. He had drug problems, drinking issues. He was doing all these bad things, and went to jail for a couple years, I think, or months. I'm not sure. I haven't done my research well enough to know that much, but I know he went through a lot of problems, and he had a lot of problems in life. And it's really inspiring to see someone who faced his demons and said, you know what, I did this, but I'm going to bring myself back up and be a good actor and make a name for myself yet again. Because he was very popular in the 80s, and he did a lot of movies himself as a kid, in the 80s. And so I'm happy. It's really inspiring to see someone who faced his demons and got back into his work that he really loves, and he wasn't going to let what he did in the past affect what he does now in the future, and he just lets it, and he lets it go. And I think the movie Iron Man kind of really was a little personal for Robert Downey Jr., and I think I really appreciate it. However, there are some things about the first Iron Man that I'm not, as I said, that third act is iffy, but I do like Jeff Bridges, and he can be a little insufferable. The character of Tony Stark in the first 10 to 15 minutes. It's just the first 10 minutes and the last act are good, but everything else really, really well done. The action's great. I mean, I think this is one of Jon Favreau's best films. I'm a big fan of Jon Favreau. I love what he's doing with The Mandalorian, and I love Elf. That's a funny comedy. I mean, I think Jon Favreau is very talented and knows what Marvel and Star Wars should be. So yeah, Iron Man is at number 4. He's at number 4. So right now we have Iron Man 2 at number 6. We have the Incredible Hulk at number 5, and then Iron Man at number 4. At number 3 we have Thor, the first Thor. I was very skeptical about Thor. I didn't know how well they were gonna handle this character, and I was blown away. Kenneth Branagh directs the hell out of this movie. Asgard looks awesome. The special effects of Asgard are awesome. Loki is one of my favorite villains in comic and in superhero. He's one of my favorite superhero villains of all time. Loki is great, and Tom Hiddleston acts the crap out of that character. He's so good and very, very menacing and very, very intimate with this character. He's like he really does, like that scene. There's a scene where Thor and Loki are having their confrontation in the last 10 minutes of the film, and Loki he's ranting to Thor, and he's crying, you see a tear fall because of what he's been through, being that younger brother, that younger adopted brother who knew he would never be able to rise to the throne because Thor would rise to the throne, having to deal with all that, the baggage that this character, Tom Hiddleston's performance in Thor and in Avengers brought weight to the films. And I think Thor is definitely one of the highlights of the Phase 1 movies. Really, really good. And the humor, the fish out of water humor with Thor when he arrives to Earth can be funny at times. The other kinds of humor can fall flat. But overall, I really enjoyed Thor. I think Chris Hemsworth is perfect as Thor, honestly. He's great. And like I said, I love Loki. I think I actually might like Loki a little bit more than Thor. But hey, that just shows how great that they were able to develop these characters, and I think Marvel has a difficult time with villains. As I said, Iron Man 2's villains sucked. Incredible Hulk villain was okay. I mean, I love the actor that plays the villain in Incredible Hulk, but it was again underdeveloped and kind of weird. Next up after Thor is Captain America: The First Avenger. This was the first Marvel film I actually saw. This was the very first film. My dad loves Captain America. He loves the character of Captain America. He loves his story. He loves the villain of Red Skull, which is who's in Captain America: The First Avenger, and I do too. I think he's really really interesting, and the makeup on Hugo Weaving, who plays Red Skull, is really cool. The makeup is really cool. And I think Hugo Weaving does a great job of making this character very fun, and he eats the role up. Definitely relishing the role of Red Skull. The villain is you kind of don't understand the motivations that much. He's kind of sucky in some aspects, but I think the performance given by Hugo Weaving kind of makes up for it. He's a very fun villain in my opinion. He's not the best. I think Loki's beats him far out of the park as far as villains go, but I love Captain America: The First Avenger because he does kind of remind me of Superman. This good-hearted Boy Scout in some ways. America first and all that. But the first 45 minutes where he's he's it's in the 1940s and he just wants to join the war effort so badly because he wants to defend his country and loves his country and respects the values his country so much. He just wants to be part of that war effort, but he can't because he's a skinny little kid, and he's weak, but he has the heart. And I love the scene when he's sitting on the bed he's sitting on his bed at the boot camp when he's finally accepted by this doctor. This doctor is the one played by oh man, I keep forgetting actors' names. I'm so bad with actors' names. But the doctor that befriends him, the German doctor, tells him that you won't win the war, or it's not about your strength. It's about your character. It's about how good of a man you are, and that's really powerful. And that's really, I think that's the heart of the film. And I think that Captain America: The First Avenger, I think, had the biggest hill to climb with Phase One of MCU, and as far as being able to pull off these characters, I think it did a really good job. But coming in at number one is Marvel's The Avengers, which I have on Blu-ray. It was the first Marvel movie that I picked up on Blu-ray. This is so much fun. I love The Avengers. It's one of my favorite comic book movies now. It's so much fun. The Joss Whedon, I'm not the biggest fan of Joss Whedon because of Justice League, but I saw The Avengers, and he does a really good job of being able to balance out all these big personas on and off screen, and just juggling these characters and making them all, and making the humor and the comedy and the action and the suspense and the dialogue all feel seamless throughout is truly an accomplishment. And being able to do this, it's cinematic history, honestly, and it's really impressive. I have really really enjoyed The Avengers. It's one of my favorite comic books movies, as I said earlier. So yeah, this is my final thoughts on Avengers. The scene, like Loki, my dad was actually found a Loki figure of him. He's got a bunch of Marvel figures. He's got Thanos. He's got all the Avengers, the X-Men, and he said this is one of his favorites. It's a thing of Loki, and I like that the helmet is very much in the Thor movie and in the Avengers is very similar to the helmet for this bust. It's really cool. Loki again is a great, fantastic villain. And the fact that he is connected to one of the Avengers, one of the Avengers is connected to this villain, and is actually his brother or his stepbrother. I think it really brought the Avengers really down to earth. The action, as I mentioned earlier, is incredible. Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury is awesome. He's really great as this character. Really the cast is all pitch perfect except for maybe for Mark Ruffalo. As I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, but there are some great Hulk sequences. I have to admit, there are great Hulk sequences. It's a very fun film. My dad actually really enjoyed it. We watched it for the first time together, and my mom even enjoyed it. So, Avengers for me is going to get a 9.6 out of 10. It's one of the best comic book films. It's definitely not as good as the Dark Knight trilogy. It's definitely not as good as Superman 1 and 2 from the 70s and 80s. And I do like this more than Man of Steel. No question, I like this more than Man of Steel because I think They handled the action so well, and it felt so seamless, and it really got these characters so right, so right. And it's my favorite Marvel movie so far, and I can't wait to see Phase Two of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, and that post credit scene. Spoilers if you haven't seen Avengers, which you probably have already. The You get to see Thanos for the first time, and I thought that was pretty cool. I had no idea. I mean, really, the post credit scenes at the end of each movie just shows how far ahead they've planned everything. Unlike the new Star Wars films, where they just did whatever they want with the Disney Star Wars trilogy, they actually had a plan for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they went for it, and they had a plan, and they succeeded. They did a great job, and that's because they had a plan, unlike Star Wars. So yeah, I really enjoyed watching these first six Avengers movies, Phase One. Uh, they are still a little overrated in my opinion. There's definitely some weak spots in these first couple of Marvel movies. I mean, it was Phase One; they were finding their footing. I'm guessing they're probably going to get better as they go along. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, guys. I can't wait. Like I said, I can't wait to check them out. All right, you guys have a good day.